Welcome to Updweller, where we help you make smarter decisions for your home. I'm David, and today we're taking a look at how often you should flush a water heater. For most traditional tank water heaters, once a year is a good starting point. I'd put it on the calendar with some other annual house maintenance because I know how this goes. Nobody walks past the water heater on a Saturday morning and thinks, you know what sounds fun? Let's drain that thing. Around our place, there's always something else that looks more urgent. There are animals, outdoor work, filters to change, repairs I've been meaning to get to, and usually at least one project that wasn't a project yesterday. The water heater is easy to forget because when it's working, it sits there quietly and gives you hot water. Inside the tank though, minerals in the water can settle at the bottom over time. If you have hard water, you can get more of that buildup. Eventually, you may have a large layer of sediment sitting down there while the heater is trying to do its job, and flushing it is really about staying ahead of that. Annual flushing also lines up with general maintenance guidance from EPA, WaterSense, and manufacturers like Rheem. I wouldn't get overly obsessive about the exact anniversary date. If you did it last April, now it's May, your water heater probably isn't holding a grudge. Your water quality can change the schedule. If you know you have hard water, 6 months may be more appropriate depending on the heater and the manufacturer's recommendations. If you're constantly cleaning mineral scale off faucets, shower heads, and other water surfaces, the water heater is seeing that same water. A newer heater with softer water has been maintained consistently, may do perfectly well on another schedule. I'd rather look at the equipment and the condition in the actual house than pretend every water heater needs exactly the same treatment. You may end up checking it sooner if the water heater starts behaving differently. Maybe your hot water isn't lasting as long. Recovery after a few showers seems slower, or the temperature has become inconsistent. These problems can have several causes, but sediment or scale is worth considering if the unit hasn't been maintained in a while. Popping, knocking, or rumbling is another clue. I wouldn't assume every noise means the thing is about to fail, but I also wouldn't keep walking past it for 6 months, waiting to see who wins. Discolored hot water is worth investigating too. If you're seeing cloudy or rusty looking water only from one side, I'd start by looking at the water heater. If it's happening with both hot and cold water, the problem could be somewhere else, in the plumbing or the water supply. Tankless water heaters work differently because you don't have a storage tank collecting sediment at the bottom. But mineral scale can still build up inside the heat exchanger. Annual flushing or descaling is common for many tankless units, and hard water may require more frequent maintenance. That's one where I'd pull out the manual for the specific unit. Tankless systems vary enough that I wouldn't assume the process for somebody else's heater is right for yours. At some point, you also have to decide whether you want to do this for yourself. A normal water tank heater that's newer, accessible, and has been maintained before, I'd consider doing it myself if I understood the equipment. Broadly, you're shutting the heater down correctly, allowing the water to cool, connecting a hose to the drain valve, opening the hot water faucet, draining safely and flushing fresh water through to help carry the sediment out. Doesn't sound terribly complicated on paper, but you're still dealing with hot water, pressure, gas, or electricity, and valves that may have not moved in years. If I walked up to an older water heater with a plastic drain valve that looked like it hadn't moved since the first Bush administration, I wouldn't decide that today was the day to find out how much torque it could handle. A stuck or leaking valve can turn routine maintenance into a much longer afternoon. I'd also be cautious with an older heater that has never been flushed. Heavy sediment can clog the drain valve, and sometimes doing maintenance on neglected equipment exposes problems that were already developing. My threshold is pretty straightforward. If I know the heater, I understand the shutdown and restart procedure, everything is accessible, and nothing looks questionable, I'll consider doing it. If I'm standing there thinking, I'm about 70% sure how this is going to go, I'm probably handing it off. 70% is fine for putting together a shelf. I don't like 70% nearly as much around gas, electricity, pressure, and hot water. For a lot of homeowners, remembering the job may be harder than physically doing it. You can know the heater should be flushed and still keep moving it down the list because there are 12 other things around the house asking for your attention. Then, if you decide you don't want to do it yourself, you still have to find somebody. For homeowners who would rather hand that kind of maintenance off, Honey Homes gives you another option. It's a membership-based home maintenance service where you work with a dedicated home maintenance professional who gets to know you and your house over time with a broader team standing behind them. You're not starting from scratch every time another maintenance job comes up. There will always be jobs where you need a licensed plumber or another specialist. And if I have a leaking or failing water heater, that's who I'm going to call. But for routine upkeep, there's value in having somebody that knows what has already been done, what's coming due, and when something needs a specialist. If you have an older unit with a questionable maintenance history, I'd rather ask somebody who knows what they're looking at than discover halfway through the job why the previous homeowner never touched that valve. Our goal at Updweller is simple: to help you make your house feel more like home. If that sounds like your kind of content, subscribe and leave a comment below.